1, 2, 1, 2, ακούγομαι. Ένα, δύο, 1, 2. Καλησπέρα. Ναι, σ' ακούω.
Ναι, πάμε. Εντάξει, έγινε.
Να σε κλείσω.
Ναι.
Φίλες και φίλοι, γεια σας από τα στούντιο του philadelphianews.gr και Philadelphia Radio. Είμαι η Ανδριάννα, δίπλα μου έχω τον Λάμπρο, Λέτσιο, και στην άλλη άκρη της γραμμής είναι ο ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ, ένας άνθρωπος που υπηρέτησε την ΑΕΚ και ως ποδοσφαιριστής και ως τεχνικός διευθυντής.
Καλησπέρα και από μένα, είναι η εκπομπή χωρίς φάουλ. Σε πολύ λίγο θα έχουμε τον ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ. Υπάρχει ένα πρόβλημα στην τηλεφωνική επικοινωνία μαζί του. Δεν είναι εδώ μαζί μας. Είναι στην Ισλανδία, όπου εργάζεται πλέον ως προπονητής. Να καλωσορίσουμε την Ανδριάννα στον σταθμό μας. Καλώς ήρθες.
Καλώς σας βρήκα.
Χρόνια πολλά σε όλο τον κόσμο, να πούμε. Άγιες τούτες μέρες. Πώς πέρασες?
Πολύ ωραία πέρασα εγώ. Εσύ?
Καλά ήταν, ξεκουραστήκαμε και είμαστε πάλι εδώ με ακόμα ένα live. Εδώ στα στούντια του Philadelphia Radio. Μπορείτε να μας ακούτε και μέσω του ραδιοφώνου Philadelphia Radio. Μπορείτε να το βρείτε σε όλες τις πλατφόρμες ραδιοφώνων. Περιμένουμε λοιπόν να μιλήσουμε με τον ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ, τεχνικός διευθυντής στην ΑΕΚ για 2 χρόνια, ποδοσφαιριστής της ΑΕΚ για άλλα 3. Εδώ και η Ανδριάννα μαζί περιμένει να θα μας βοηθήσει και στα της μετάφρασης. Θα μας δώσετε λοιπόν 2 λεπτά να ξαναπροσπαθήσουμε να κάνουμε την σύνδεση, οπότε θα κάνουμε ένα μικρό λιγόλεπτο break, ευελπιστώ, και είμαστε μαζί σας. Λοιπόν, εδώ είμαστε. Καλωσορίζουμε τον κύριο ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ.
Hello, Mr. ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣON.
Hi.
I'm Adriana.
Is Adriana is the new member of our radio. So we began. Now you are coaching Valur Reykjavik in Iceland. I am correct?
Correct.
How is your how are you doing as a coach now?
The season now, we don't have the same season like in Greece. Here in Iceland, the season starts in the beginning of April, and we finish in the end of October. So the season just finished a couple of months ago, and we finished second. So it was improvement from the year before. This was my first year with Valur. But Valur is one of the big clubs in Iceland, so you always want to be fighting for something. So second position from two bad or difficult seasons, it's okay, but we always want more. It's similar if you are AEK, you always want to win something. Coming second or third is not bad, but it's not the same.
Mm-hmm. Do you prefer now coaching or as a technical director that you began the off football?
I mean, when you are a football person, the best ever is being a football player, and I think players they realize that always later because. Sometimes when you're a player, you're unhappy with small little things, but being a player is the best ever job you can actually have. For me, second best is being a coach because then you are really close to the players, and then you can experience a little bit the drama, winning and losing, and the third best is being involved, being like a technical director or sports manager or little bit outside of the pitch, but still involved. But that's also, I mean, being a sports director is also interesting when you have an interesting project. For example, you are maybe coming into an interesting club who can do something. That's it's always going to interest me. But being as a coach close to the players, experience the nice moments, and also, you know, in football there's a lot of drama, winning and losing, a lot of adrenaline kick, winning and also losing, a lot of emotions, and you Greeks, you know it because winning is everything and losing is something different. Mm-hmm. I always said that you know, the Greeks they sometimes think with the heart, not with the head, because you are so passionate about football. And football, of course, is a lot of passion, and that's why people who are involved in football they get stuck. They love it, and that's also a privilege to be involved in doing something that is your passion. And I have been fortunate enough to be involved in football all my life. So, and I'm really glad for it.
Mm-hmm. Ας κάνουμε μια λοιπόν πρώτη μετάφραση. Ήταν η πρώτη ερώτηση που κάναμε στον κύριο ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ. Μας είπε ότι προτιμά, ότι του αρέσει ότι είναι στο στοιχείο του ποδοσφαίρου. Του αρέσει που είναι και προπονητής. Του αρέσει το συναίσθημα να προπονεί παίχτες, γιατί υπήρξε ποδοσφαιριστής. Μας είπε και ότι το στοιχείο και του τεχνικού διευθυντή του άρεσε, αλλά σαν προπονητής και ειδικά στην ΑΕΚ είναι μια ομάδα που κερδίζει. Τον ρωτήσαμε για τη Βαλούρ, την ομάδα που προπονεί, μας είπε για τις εμπειρίες του τον πρώτο καιρό. Είναι ο πρώτος του χρόνος στη Βαλούρ, είναι μεταβατικό στάδιο, είναι σε μια ομάδα που όπως και η ΑΕΚ μας είπε χαρακτηριστικά του αρέσει να κερδίζει. Αντριάννα. How is football in Iceland? The biggest difference with Greek football?
I would say, of course, it's improving, but it's still, we are not full professionals. I mean, we are probably the only club who is training and behaving like a professional club. We train in the morning like AEK does. But most of the clubs in Iceland, they train in the afternoon. You know, 4 o'clock, 4:30.
Because of the weather. Because of the weather.
No. Because financially, because a lot of the players in Iceland, they also work. They also have and so they are not fully professionals. You can say they are. In the last 10 years, it has improved. I would say probably now in the top 5-6 clubs, out of 25 players, you probably have 10, 12 players. They don't do anything else. They're just fully professionals. But it's not like if you go to Greece, for example, everyone is fully professional. The highest league in Greece, all the teams are professional. Second division, I would think most of them are fully professional. So it's a little bit different. I mean, we are in Greece, how many people live? 10 million, something like that.
Exactly.
Here in Iceland, we are 360,000. It's like a small village, you know. But you see now, for the first time, Icelandic team now in the Conference League, in the group stages, and we are always getting closer. So the level in Iceland in the football is always getting better. But of course, you cannot compare, for example, the top 4 or 5 clubs in Greece with the level here. It should be big difference, you know.
Mr. ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣON, can I ask you, are you going to coach any Greek team in the future?
That's a interesting question. I mean, obviously, when you are a coach, you always want to go to
next
a higher level. And as I'm now in Iceland, I'm probably with the biggest club now, and the club that wants to win. But of course, if there is an interesting project abroad, obviously you would always think, because then it's bigger, it's more professional. So I think it's the same for the players who are young here in Iceland, and it comes an interesting proposal from abroad. Most of them, they will consider it, and it's the same. It's the same for the coaches. If the project is interesting, of course they gonna they gonna think about it. So and I have been, I've lived almost 6 years in Greece, 3 years as a player and 2.5 years as a technical director, and we loved the time in Greece, and I have a lot of good friends there. So you never know. I have been in Belgium as a player, and then as a technical director, and then also as a coach for a short spell. So I still miss in Greece. I've been a player, I've been a technical director, but I haven't been a coach. So you never know. It could happen, you know. In football, things change quickly.
Ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν τον κύριο ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ άμα τον ενδιαφέρει η προοπτική να έρθει στο ελληνικό πρωτάθλημα. Μας είπε ότι είναι ανοιχτός, αν το project είναι κάτι που τον ενδιαφέρει και του αρέσει. Φάνηκε θετικός και μακάρι να τον έχουμε κάποια στιγμή στα ελληνικά γήπεδα. Από εκεί και πέρα τον ρωτήσαμε για τις διαφορές του ποδοσφαίρου στην Ισλανδία και του ποδοσφαίρου στην Ελλάδα. Μας είπε ότι είναι μεγάλες, εκεί είναι πιο αεραστεχνικό, εκεί τα μάτσα όλα γίνονται απόγευμα γιατί το πρωί δουλεύουν, είναι λίγο χαμηλότερες κατηγορίες, οπότε και σαν προπονητής και σαν ποδοσφαιριστής ήθελε να κάνει το βήμα παραπάνω, οπότε σίγουρα το να έρθει σε μια ελληνική ομάδα σαν προπονητής πλέον θα ήταν κάτι που θα τον ενδιέφερε. Let's take a look at the past 3 years, as you said, as AEK player. Your emotions as a player. Let's see the player Arnar ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣON in AEK.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed my time with AEK. I mean, we had 3 years. Okay, we were very close. I remember when we played. I think we were playing quarterfinals, and then we had Cup Winners' Cup, which is no longer a European competition, and we lost against Lokomotiv Moscow, which was really on the last minute. But I mean, we were a couple of times close to doing something really good, because we only managed to finish second and third in the league, and then we managed to win the cup only once. But the time I have good friends since I played it 3 years. So there were a lot of nice and good moments that you cherish. And who knows what happens in the future? Maybe there could be another moments with AEK. You never know. It's a fantastic club with a lot of tradition and a lot of fans and a lot of passion. And now with a new stadium and better training facilities, a lot of things are possible for AEK.
You said you have many friends from AEK. With whom do you still have contacts with today?
Now I would say, obviously, because I was a player 97 to 2000, and then I came back 2010 as a technical director. And from that time, being a technical director with the club, I've been in constant contact with the board members and also the president, Stavros Adamidis. And we have been in contact ever since I left, probably, and few of the board members as well. And as a player, Daniel Batista, and there was one guy also, Kelvin Seppe, and then few of the guys, Flakos, Karayanis Vaios. These guys, when I came back, sometimes you good friends, they don't always need to speak regularly, but when you meet them, it's like the old times. Also, when I was a technical director, I had few occasions with Demis Nikolaidis, and so a lot of them. Stelios Manolas, I only played with him for I think half a year. Managed to play with him for his last 6 months of his career, and when I came back, I was in quite a lot of communication with him because of the young Manolas, who was then playing for AEK.
Kostas.
Kostas. But a lot of nice people and good people. The Greeks, they normally have big hearts and treat people normally, especially foreigners, they treat them well. So, but on a regular basis, because now everything on social media, you have all these where you can, send
it's easy to talk with someone by social media. It's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Με ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν τον κύριο Γκρέταρσον. Να ξεκινήσουμε από την αρχή για τα 3 χρόνια που ήταν σαν ποδοσφαιριστής. Έχει μόνο καλά πράγματα να θυμηθεί και για τα παιχνίδια με τη Λοκομοτίβ Μόσχας και για την ομάδα ότι τερμάτισε πολύ ψηλά στη βαθμολογία, αν και κάποιον τίτλο δεν κατάφερε να πάρει. Πολύ όμορφες στιγμές έχει μείνει και ευχαριστημένος ήταν από αυτά τα χρόνια. Μετά μας είπε ότι έχει κρατήσει και πολύ καλές σχέσεις, οπότε η Ανδριάννα τον ρώτησε με ποιους έτσι έχει κρατήσει σχέσεις. Μας είπε και για τον Σταύρο Αδαμίδη, τον Ντέμι Νικολαίδη, αρκετούς ανθρώπους από τα διοικητικά στελέχη της ΑΕΚ, ενώ από ποδοσφαιριστές και με τον Ντανιέλ Μπατίστα και τον Μιχάλη τον Βλάχο. Μιχάλης Βλάχος is now in Germany, if you want to. We spoke someday before.
Is he a coach or is he coach now? Or?
Yes.
He was a coach when I was. He was coaching when I was the technical director.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want from you to remember the time when Andreas Stamatiadis and Yannis Karagiannis came to Iceland to speak with you about AEK. How they convinced you to come to AEK? How, if you remember something from that days?
I remember. I remember. They had a long trip here. They came, And the first thing, of course, my brother, who was 10 years older than me, he played for Iraklis Saloniki probably few years, probably in 80, I don't remember exactly. He played 1 or 2 years with Iraklis, so he knew the competition quite well. So when this came up, there was never any doubt in my mind. If you had the opportunity to go to AEK, you wouldn't think twice, because AEK is a massive club, and for me it was a huge opportunity, and and to go there, I don't regret it. It was a fantastic opportunity, and when it came up, I didn't need to think a lot. It was just basically, okay, if there is a possibility, I would always jump on it. I knew, of course, it's going to be a challenge because it's a big club and with a lot of players. But if you wanna go far in football, you don't have to think about players as a challenge. You should welcome when you go to a team where you have a lot of good players, because then you progress. If you're always thinking about your position in the team, you're never going to progress. And for me, it was a challenge, and I didn't have to have a lot of time to think about it. And I for sure I don't regret it. It was a nice time.
Ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν τον κύριο Γκρέταρσον αν θυμάται κάτι από την ημέρα που έγινε το ψιστήρι που λέμε και εμείς οι Έλληνες για να έρθει στην ΑΕΚ. Να θυμίσουμε την ιστορία για όσους δεν ξέρουν. Ο Ανδρέας Σταματιάδης με τον Γιάννη Καραγιάννη που μίλαγε τότε αγγλικά έκαναν όλο το ταξίδι μέχρι την Ισλανδία για να μιλήσουν μαζί του και είπε ότι δεν το μετανιώνει που ήρθε στην ΑΕΚ. Πέρασε πάρα πολύ ωραίες στιγμές, δεν τις ξεχάσει ποτέ. Και ήταν και μια ευκαιρία ζωής για αυτόν. 67 appearances with 2 goals. Do you remember the teams you scored against? The one was with an Athinaikos 1998. The other I didn't find it.
No.
To tell the truth.
No. No, I don't remember. I don't recall.
Which is the best match you play with AEK? This match, you remember forever.
I mean, we played. It was the year, probably my first year with AEK, which was 97-98 season, when we had a lot of injuries. When Kostis broke his leg, Demis was out a little bit. Daniel Batista, I think his cruciate ligament went. We had a lot of injuries. I think this was the year when we beat Olympiacos twice, Panathinaikos twice, and I think I'm not sure with PAOK we beat them 3-0 home, and I think we made a draw probably, I think it was the first game away, and we were on the top of the league in Christmas, and then in the beginning of
New Year
in January. Yeah, then we had all these injuries. I think Kostis broke his leg against Sturm Graz in the European competition. I mean, fantastic player. We missed him. Demis was out also for some time. Daniel Batista out, and then we also have Katsovos was also playing quite a lot, but he also went out for a long time because we didn't have the bigger squad. And then we started to drop some points, and I'm quite sure if we didn't lose all these players in so in big injuries, we could probably have maintained and won the league. But football is like that. You have big injuries, big players get injured, but if you have 2, 3, 4, it can impact the team, and that did for sure impact us in the year 97-98. And then for me, there were a lot of fantastic games that season. All the derbies we played really well, and I remember also against PAOK home we beat them 3-0, and we played a really really good game. I think also Panathinaikos home, and of course always the games against Olympiacos, which is a huge rivalry. Always when you win these games, and we won all the derbies that year. But it's just a pity that we didn't win the league, because that is of course the most important in football. It's not winning 1 or 2 games, it's winning the league and being consistent. That is the most important. But I think the injuries with key players played a big role in that.
Λοιπόν, ρωτήσαμε τον κύριο Γκρέταρσον ποιο μάτς έτσι θα θυμάται από την ποδοσφαιρική του καριέρα ως ποδοσφαιριστής της ΑΕΚ. Μας είπε σίγουρα τα ντέρμπι, αν και όλοι θυμούνται κατέληξε με το κάποιο τίτλο να πάρει η ομάδα κάποιον τίτλο κτλ. Είπε για τις νίκες με τον Παναθηναϊκό την πρώτη χρονιά που ήταν, παρόλο τους τραυματισμούς έκανε ένα εξαιρετικό πρώτο εξάμηνο η ΑΕΚ εκείνη την εποχή, την πρώτη χρονιά του Άρναρ Γκρέταρσον στην ΑΕΚ το 1997. Κέρδισε τον Ολυμπιακό, κέρδισε τον Παναθηναϊκό, είχε κερδίσει τον ΠΑΟΚ στο γήπεδό του, μεγάλες επιτυχίες για την ΑΕΚ. Αυτά τα μάτς μας είπε ότι δεν θα ξεχάσει ποτέ, γιατί ήταν απέναντι σε μεγάλους αντιπάλους.
Mr. Gretarsson, do you remember the first days in Greece and in AEK? How were they?
These are many years ago. I just remember we were in a hotel in downtown Athens, and we had a young kid at the time, a young boy, and we always needed to have like a chauffeur who was driving me to the training facilities, waiting, because for us it was a little bit difficult, the traffic at the time and the way the Greeks drive a little bit. We needed to adapt a little bit because it's not what we are used to here in Iceland or in you can say Western Europe. It's a little bit or North Europe.
We are a little crazy when we drive a car. We have a big problem here in Greece.
Yeah, exactly. You like to beep a little bit if you're not patient. So if you are a little bit not quick going, if you are stopping somewhere or there's a red light or whatever, if you're not quick, people get frustrated very quickly.
The Greek culture you said before.
Yeah. But I mean, this is what you love and you also hate. This is passion. And we don't have this here in Iceland. Sometimes I would love to have people more passionate here in Iceland, because we are more, introverts, and we don't show our feelings like you do in Greece. Sometimes it can be a little bit less with you Greeks, but this is also something that you like as well, because you always express yourself with your hands and with everything. So the first days was a little bit different for us, because we are living in a hotel for probably 3 to 4 weeks. Always had a driver driving us back and forth, and the traffic crazy. Obviously the heat, because we were in during the summer, and we were talking about always plus 35 degrees, and we're not used to it. And of course my wife, my son, they actually liked it. But for me, going back and forth, and it was different. But you always look at this time. These are just memories, and you experience that. I think today, if I was taking a new player, I don't think they will put him in downtown Athens in a hotel. I think they will put him somewhere where it would be more quiet, so he can relax a little bit and go for a stroll maybe. This was not the right, maybe when I'm looking back, this was not the right hotel maybe to put someone to stay in, But we enjoyed it.
Ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν τον κύριο Γκρέταρσον πώς του φάνηκαν οι πρώτες μέρες στην Ελλάδα, ερχόμενος από μια χώρα σαν την Ισλανδία. Μας είπε για την κίνηση, ότι του είχε φανεί όλο αυτό εδώ πολύ περίεργο, πάθος, όπως οδηγάνε οι Έλληνες, βιαστική, του είχε μείνει αυτό, έμενε σε ένα ξενοδοχείο και ένα σοφέρ τον έπαιρνε από το ξενοδοχείο για να τον πάει για προπόνηση, οπότε του άρεσε, δεν φάνηκε αρνητικός αυτό. Λοιπόν, με αυτά που μας είπε, η κίνηση του έμεινε, γιατί και η ζέστη φυσικά που άρεσε στη γυναίκα και στο γιο του, αλλά στον ίδιο κάπως ήταν λίγο διαφορετική σε σχέση με το τι είχε ζήσει όλα αυτά τα χρόνια στην Ισλανδία.
Και το πόσο δείχνουμε εμείς τα συναισθήματά μας εδώ σε αντίθεση με την Ισλανδία.
Ναι.
AEK was the first team in which you worked as a director of football. Do you regret it?
No. I mean, of course, when I got the phone call, it was first 1 year before I came out.
When you stopped football? When you stopped football?
Yeah, I was still playing at the time. I was still I was still playing because when I came out 2010, but I came before 2009, the year before. I think Vasilis Sarabrakos, he called me and he told me that if it would be okay if the president of AEK at that time, I think it was Yorgos Kintis, if he could give me a call, and then there was still transition in the board of AEK, and certain things need to happen for me to become the technical director. Because I went out 2009, the 1 year before I became the technical director. Then nothing happened, and then 1 year later, Stavros Adamidis came in, and then changes happened, and I met him in Denmark. And of course, when this opportunity came, it was the same like when I was a football player. Now I knew Greece, I knew the country, I knew the people, I knew the club. I didn't need much time to think. Obviously, I didn't have any experience being a technical director, but I had been in football all my life, so I knew football. So I was a little bit jumping into the swimming pool in the deep end. And you have to know a little bit. You're not fully. You cannot swim perfectly, but you have to. You jump in, and then you will have to figure it out. And I really enjoyed the time. We definitely did a lot of mistakes, but I think we did a lot of good things as well. But we were always trying to do the best things for AEK, and at the time, things were really difficult financially. And we were trying to put into place good structure, a good way to work, doing things properly. Football is same like running a big company, especially clubs like AEK and big clubs. It's a big budget, and you have to run it like a company. There has to be a structure. Everyone has to know the roles. They have to know what they have to do, and there has to be, what is very important is of course scouting network, knowing where you can take good players and all that. And we were trying to figure things out. And these things in football, because football is it's constantly moving, and you always have to be ready. If someone gets injured, you have to have ready someone to replace, and then it's not an easy task. But I loved it, and I think clubs, like many clubs in Greece and not only in Greece but in a lot of countries, in Turkey and other countries as well, Belgium as well, there could be a better structure in the clubs. It's easily to, if there would be better structure, you would get better results. We could just take one club that everyone knows, Manchester United. There's no structure in the club, how they buy players and all that. And that's why they're spending a lot of money, but there is no structure. No one knows exactly what they are trying to do and why they are buying this player. And this is so important. I spoke with some news journalists probably 1 year ago. Then I was close to going into the new stadium, and I was quite sure it will bring next step up for AEK, because going into a new stadium, home stadium, it's going to give them spark. But now they want double, fantastic, but they have to maintain, and now they need good structure. They need to bring in good players, and I think they have a good coach, and to maintain not only 1 year, but they have to continue, be successful, go to the next level in Europe, sell players, take money in, and buy other players, and it's constant. And you just have, it's like an organization, and you have to build it up. It takes time.
Ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν τον κύριο Γκρέταρσο να κάνουμε μετάφραση, γιατί μας είπε και πολλά. Τον ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν για την πρώτη του προσπάθεια. Do you understand Greek? Yes.
Ναι, καταλαβαίνω. Όχι όλα, αλλά καταλαβαίνω.
Λοιπόν, τον ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν για την απόφασή του να δεχθεί την προσφορά της ΑΕΚ να αναλάβει το πόστο του τεχνικού διευθυντή στην ΑΕΚ. Μας είπε ότι η πρώτη επαφή είχε γίνει 1 χρόνο πριν τελικά γίνει η πρόσληψή του ως τεχνικό διευθυντή. Είχε γίνει ένα τηλεφώνημα από τον κύριο Σαμπράκο τότε, αν τον ενδιαφέρει αυτή η θέση. Μετά από ένα επικιντή, να πούμε, η ΑΕΚ, προεδρία σκιντή. Μετά από ένα χρόνο, επί προεδρία του Σταύρου Αδαμίδη, έγινε το τελικό ραντεβού στη Δανία και συμφώνησε. Δεν το μετανιώνει, είπε. Κολύμπησα στα βαθιά, προσπάθησα για το καλύτερο. Σίγουρα έκανα λάθη. Δεν υπήρχαν όμως ρόλοι στην ομάδα, δεν υπήρχε τμήμα scouting, δεν ήταν εύκολο, αλλά το αγάπησα πολύ αυτό που έκανα. Δεν υπήρχε ίσως και στο σωστή δομή, μας είπε. Μας έφερε και το παράδειγμα της Manchester United, τι γίνεται τώρα που έχει πάρα πολύ καλούς παίκτες, αλλά η ομάδα δεν μπορεί να βλέπουμε τι γίνεται και στην United. Δεν μπορεί να είναι στον δρόμο των επιτυχιών, αλλά δήλωσε κιόλας χαρούμενος για το τώρα της ΑΕΚ, που έχει και το καινούριο γήπεδο, έχει πάρει το double και για τον Ματίας Αλμέιδα θα τον ρωτήσουμε και πιο κάτω για την τωρινή ΑΕΚ, αλλά το έδειξε να πιστεύει πάρα πολύ στην δύναμη του γήπεδου. How difficult it was if we take account the financial difficulties that the team was facing at that time? You want to bring a player to ΑΕΚ, but the financial problems was difficult to make a player come to ΑΕΚ. How was your goal?
I've said it also. There is. I've seen since I was there from 2010 to 12. Most of the clubs, the big clubs in Greece, ΑΕΚ, Olympiakos, Panathinaikos, also PAOK, it was very common to take big names, getting on their USA plus 30, 32, 3, 4, and they came to Greece to finish the career, good salaries and all that. And now it's still, but it's less. I have always said, in my opinion, okay, of course you need to have a balance, but because a lot of the fans and a lot of the clubs, they are doing these metagrafes, like you call them, big names, because people are asking, where are the new players? They wanted to see big names, and for me, it's not only about bringing big names, because the most important, bring good players that is going to take the team to the next level. Because if you bring a big name and the fans is gonna like it for 1 week or 2 weeks, but when he starts to play and he doesn't perform, they're not gonna be happy. But if you take a good player, they don't know him, maybe the name is not so familiar, but within maybe 1 or 2 months they're gonna say, Bechtara, this is a good player. And then this is what the clubs they need to think. They have to think, because it's running up. It's a company. They have to think, this is also someone I can bring in, because ΑΕΚ is a big club in Europe. And if you do well in Europe and you're doing well, there are bigger clubs than ΑΕΚ. And if ΑΕΚ is doing well and they brought a player in for 3 million euros, for example, and they do well, they can sell him for 15 or 20. And then you can have, when this is reoccurring and this is happening again and again, then you build a reputation and you can buy for a little bit bigger amount. This is similar to what Club Bruce is doing since I was there 2013. Then we make the biggest sale, which is close to 10 million. Now they are selling regularly 20, 25, 30 million. And the budget is growing because the scouting system, the network is good. So they can always bring in good players, they replace players, and they know they are not the biggest club in Europe, but they are a big club in Belgium. I guess should think similar. I mean, they are a huge club in Greece, but they are clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, England, Germany, where there are even bigger clubs. And they have to understand that. That's just the way it is. But what is difficult, you asked me the question, what is difficult when you came in? The difficult is that when you are with a big club, you need to satisfy, the fans, but and you have to get results as well. And when you cannot buy the best players and sign the best players, it's always going to be difficult, because the fans are not going to take there is no money. They just want to see results. And from the time when I was there, 2000, and when we started 10, And when I was leaving 2012, I think the budget has gone down from players. I don't remember exactly, but it's been going. It was just say if it was 10, it was 2. It was something like that. But I don't remember the numbers.
Yes,
exactly.
big difference. Big difference. I understand.
There was
big
huge difference. So, and at the same time, there was also a huge tax difference because of the difficulties in Europe. Then the taxes were also increased. So that was also more difficult for the clubs, because if you were used to pay, I don't know, 15% taxes, and then suddenly you have to pay 40% taxes. Players, they don't care. Someone who used to have 200,000 euros netto, and you are telling him it cost us 230,000 to pay you this 200, but now we need to pay 350,000 to give you 200. And the players, they don't care. You understand? But for the club, and this was all at the same time. So it was difficult. But I always say, when things are difficult, you learn the most. And this was a huge learning curve for me. And I think all the people who were in the board and the people there that I was in a lot of contact, huge, passionate, they just lived for the club. You could see the people in the board, they loved the club. But this was something that you can see. They really wanted to succeed, but it was difficult circumstances. And at least we won a cup, and I think we did well. We went to Europe every single year. But you always want more because it's AEK. But with the circumstances, I think we did pretty well. But with I would say where I am today, I know much. I'm much more capable of. I know now if someone would ask me, can you be a technical director summer? It's not the same Arnar 2010 and now today because of my experience, what I have learned. But you have to learn. You have to go through certain school and you have to learn. And I really enjoyed my time there. And it was not easy. It was difficult. But it was also enjoyable,
Μας είπε λοιπόν ότι όσο ήταν τεχνικός διευθυντής, σίγουρα θα ξεκινήσω με το τελευταίο, ότι το απόλαυσε, ότι δεν το μετάνιωσε. Ξεκίνησε με το ότι τα περισσότερα κλαμπ στην Ελλάδα είχαν ένα κοινό παρανομαστή, ας πούμε. Έπαιρναν παίκτες που θέλουν να τελειώσουν την καριέρα τους με μεγάλους μισθούς, ένα τελευταίο καλό συμβόλαιο, όπως συνηθίζουν οι ποδοσφαιριστές να λένε, κάτι το οποίο και ο ίδιος ίσως δεν βρίσκει σωστό. Υπήρχαν αυτά τα οικονομικά προβλήματα που υπήρχαν στην ΑΕΚ, θυμίζω επί Σταύρου Αδαμίδη προεδρία στην Ένωση τότε. Υπήρχαν και μεγάλοι φόροι, όλο αυτό δυσκόλευε το έργο του. Χαρακτηριστικά μας είπε αν μπορούσε να φτιάξει μια κλίμακα. Όταν πήγε στην ΑΕΚ το budget ήταν στο νούμερο 10, και όταν την τελευταία του χρονιά το budget ήταν στο νούμερο 2, για να μας δείξει τη διαφορά κλίμακας στο budget που είχε η ΑΕΚ και για να μας περιγράψει τη δυσκολία που είχε.
If you could go back in time, is there anything that you would do differently? Anything that you would change in your time as a director of football?
In ΑΕΚ.
In ΑΕΚ.
That's a big question. Yeah, for sure. 100%. There are probably some players knowing now what we know now that probably we wouldn't sign, and there are probably other players that we thought of that we didn't sign, maybe would have gone after them. That's just how things are. But it's always when you are in a management role, you're always faced with the dilemma. You need to make decisions, and you have to make decisions, and then sometimes the decisions they're not good, or you make a bad decision. Then you have to try to correct it. And I've always said it in football, which is really it's always involving, and you always have to be spontaneous. You have to be ready. If you, for example, you just say that you're signing 10 players over just 2 years' time. If if 6 of them are really good, I think you are doing a good job. If there are 7 or 8, fantastic. And for me, today, the less transfers you can do, I think that shows you're doing something right. If you make 8 or 10 players, new players, that you every single transfer period, that's not good. Because then it's too much. You're always changing the squad, too many changes. You need to have contingency. You have a continuity in the squad. Because, for example, they won double last year. I don't know exactly how many players left. You need to try to keep the core. Of course, if you have a winning team, hopefully they had a couple of really good players and they maybe sold 1 or 2. Then they bring in 1 or 2 good players or 3. But and then maybe 1 or 2 young players that could proceed. But too many changes, that's never good. Sometimes you need to make changes in the beginning. But too many changes, that's something that, I learned through that too many changes are never good. You have to try to find the right coach and try to stick with the right coach, because the easiest is normally in football, you lose 2-3 games and you kick out the coach, because you only look at the result, you don't see what he is doing. It's possible in football that you play a fantastic game, but you still lose. Then you need to look at the performance, not the result. And what is the coach doing? Is he improving the team? Is he doing the right things? Is he, making the players better? So if you can see that, then you give him time. And the more time normally makes stability in the team, in the club. And if you can have the same people working for the club the longer, of course they have to know what they are doing. Then they know the job better and they're going to deliver better for you. But this is the tricky part in football, because people are they don't give you time. They normally, if you don't have result, they kick everyone out and they start again, which is so difficult. And this is the tricky part. How can you do that? How can you get someone to calm the fans and say, we are on the right track, doing the right thing. We have a good scouting department. We are bringing in good players, and we're going to see result. And that normally it takes a little time. But then when it's there, it's going to produce. But you always have to be on your toes and follow what is new in football. There are a lot of new things in football, and you have to be up to date in that.
Ρωτήσαμε λοιπόν τον κύριο Γκρέταρσον αν μπορούσε να αλλάξει κάτι, αν γέρναγε το χρόνο πίσω και μπορούσε να αλλάξει κάτι όσο ήταν τεχνικός διευθυντής στην ΑΕΚ. Μας είπε ότι 100% θα έκανα διαφορετικά πράγματα, δεν θα έπαιρνα κάποιους παίκτες που πήρα, θα έπαιρνα κάποιους άλλους. Πάντα πρέπει να είσαι υπεύθυνος όμως για τα όσα κάνεις. Κάθε μεταγραφική περίοδο κάναμε 8 με 9 μεταγραφές, δεν προσπαθούσαμε να κρατήσουμε τους καλούς παίχτες, να κρατήσουμε ένα σύνολο. Γίνονταν γενικά πολλές αλλαγές στο ρόστερ και αυτό είναι κάτι που έμαθε και δεν θα ξανά κάνει σίγουρα. Δεν πρέπει να γίνονται τόσο αλλαγές σε μια ομάδα, πρέπει να κοιτάμε και τις εμφανίσεις και όχι μόνο το αποτέλεσμα έκλεισε. Και ήθελε ουσιαστικά να μας δείξει ότι οι ομάδες πρέπει να δένονται, δεν είναι καλό να γίνονται τόσες πολλές μεταγραφές. Ανδριάννα.
Was there any player that you personally tried to bring to AEK, but for some reason the transfer was not completed?
Or someone that you bring a proposal about to leave with a big amount of money that AEK was in need and it didn't conclude.
I mean, we had, for example, when we were there, we had, I think Kostas Manolas at the time was really young and with a big potential.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it correct that he left AEK without any transfer fee?
Exactly. Free release.
And for me, that's a pity. And for me, for club, there's a player who was young with big potential. There, the club should always protect, because normally, what are the assets of the clubs? It's the players, especially for clubs like AEK, when you have young players and for example, Red Bull teams, Red Bull Salzburg, normally they only sign players from 18 to 20 or 21 because after that they're just, for them, too old because they want to have young and they look at the main characteristic that they are looking for is physical, speed, running capacity, and young. And this is where they are just focusing on. And with him, you can say because you asked what is a little bit because I went with them to Dnipro and they were thinking of buying him, and that would have been a good transfer fee, but it didn't go through. So obviously, losing a player with his qualities on a free transfer is never good for a club. And this can happen, but it shouldn't happen, you know. And when the club is run properly and everything is working well, there is also one element which is not helping, financial elements, you know, for us to give him a new contract that he was happy with. I don't remember all the details, but there were a few elements that didn't help us at the time. But there was one case at least that should have gone differently. I mean, he should have been sold from the club because this is a young guy who comes through the academy and he with a huge potential and he did really well in Italy and they came back. But this is what I always said. AEK and clubs like AEK, they should focus more on a younger, but you need to have a balanced team. You cannot only have, you know, 10 players playing in the team that are 18 to 21. You need to have a balance. You know, few older with experience because you need to win something. You have to go for the title. But if you have 3-4 very interesting young players and playing in the team, that's also money because if they do really well, if a club does well, it's always in Europe, and if it does well in Europe, you're going to sell 1 or 2 players for good amounts. And then with every year that the club does better, the prices are going to increase. It's not going to be 3-4 million or 10 million. It's going to go higher. You saw what Olympiacos did shortly. I think they started to sell 2013, 14, 15. Quite a lot of players.
Many examples.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Castillo, the first was Castillo, Rechos nowadays. Many examples.
Exactly, and this is what AEK needs to, or clubs like AEK, which is a big brand. AEK is a brand. It's known everywhere. It's a big club, and that when you do things properly, it should be run like a proper company. I don't know, of course, I don't know how it is done today, but they did well last year, and they are not far away from the top now. A few points from PAOK.
3 points. Yes.
It's still, there's still everything is open, and which is good, and hopefully things are moving in the right direction, bringing in the right players and so on. But it's never easy. Football is not easy. It's a stressful job, but luckily for the people who are normally in it, it's something that they like to do, you know. And so.
If I understand, you said Salzburg want Kostas Manolas, or I confused?
No, it was Dnipro. Dnipro in Ukraine. Dnipro is in Ukraine, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. Many words have written about your relations with Dusan Bagevich and Manolo Jimenez. I don't want from you to tell me what is going wrong on. With whom was the hardest to collaborate? Is two persons difficult? With whom was the hardest?
I mean, I think when we came in 2010, a lot of newspapers said that the new administration of AEK, which was Stavros Adamidis and the board, and me coming in as that we wanted to kick out Dusan Bagevich, which was not correct. that was not the aim. And then with time, because you hear a lot of stuff, you know, when I was a player, I just knew he was the coach of Olympiacos at the time. Used to be a fantastic football player himself, played for Ajax, did fantastic things. Just, I admired him, what he has done. And when I came in, I just had huge respect for the guy. And the respect just grew because he is actually a really big personality. And he is direct, he is no bullshit guy. And when people are saying a lot of different things about him, at least what I experienced, he's top guy, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. What I experienced with him, really good person. And he's maybe a close personality, but honest, good guy. And in the end, okay, we didn't start in a those little bit tension in the beginning, but I think with time, it went well. And I think I have a huge respect for him, and I think he has respect for me as well. It was always mutual when we later came on. There was never any issue with working together. But then, of course, after, I don't remember which was it against Warlords, I think then he just said, things are not working out, I'm stopping.
We lose 0-4 in Waka. I remember.
Was that there was at least a game that he said, you know, I just want to stop now. And it shows his character. And with Manolo is completely different guy. He's different from Dusan. He's completely different. He's a, you know, Dusan is quiet and you know where you have him. The other one is a little bit, he's different.
Spanish man.
Yeah, he's, you know, one day he is like that, the next day he's a little bit different. So, but he did well for the team. I mean, he's been with the club, I think, 3 times, or at least twice. He won the cup when he came first. Then he won the championship for the team. So he has done well. I mean, but they are different characters.
Να πούμε λοιπόν τι είπε, γιατί ήταν πάρα πολύ πριν το αμελήσαμε να μεταφράσουμε τι είπε ο κύριος ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ. Τον ρωτήσαμε αν θυμάται κάποια περίπτωση ποδοσφαιριστή που να έφερε κάποια πρόταση ή να έφερε κάποιο ποδοσφαιριστή για την ΑΕΚ. Στάθηκε στον Κώστα Μανολά, ένα παίχτη από τις ακαδημίες της ΑΕΚ με ιδιαίτερη μεταπολιτική αξία, ένα παίχτη που μπορούσε η ΑΕΚ να βασιστεί πάνω του. Και αυτή είναι η φιλοσοφία του, μας είπε, ότι να έχεις 3-4 παίκτες από την ακαδημία σου, να τους δουλεύεις και να τους έχεις στην πρώτη ομάδα, ώστε αργότερα να μπορείς να τους πουλήσεις. Έφερε για παράδειγμα τη Salzburg, μια ομάδα που βασίζεται στις ακαδημίες της, που δίνει χώρο στα νέα παιδιά και το τόνισε, και μας αποκάλυψε για μια πρόταση της Dnipro για στην ΑΕΚ που είχε έρθει για τον Κώστα Μανολά. Δυστυχώς αυτή η πρόταση δεν μετατράπηκε σε μεταγραφή και ο Κώστας Μανολάς, όπως είπαμε και πριν στον κύριο ΓΚΡΕΤΑΡΣΟΝ, κατέληξε να φύγει ελεύθερος από την Ένωση. Αντριάννα.
Is it in your plans to come and visit the new arena of AEK? Or have you done it already?
The new stadium.
The new stadium. No, I haven't. I came... last time when I came is probably 2021 or 22. I came for a few days. I met Stavros Adamidis and some of the ex-board members of AEK. We were there for a few days, I and my wife.
When you will come to make you to come to...
Yeah, I mean, I will, you know, I because we always want to go to Greece because we go to holidays or see people, and when I see the stadium, it's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, the stadium, and I think it's going to be sooner than later, because it will be interesting to come and experience a game there, because I know the atmosphere, the fans there are fantastic. I was watching now quite a lot of the games in Champions League when they were playing. Was it last year? Wasn't it? No, it was now. No. They were playing now with. Was it last year program? I'm not so sure. They were in the group stage.
In Europe. In Europe.
I'm probably now. It's probably now. I was watching with Ajax with.
Yes, the last day was the last match was with Ajax in Holland.
Yeah, exactly. And I was also watching the game
here in Greece.
Here in Athens. Yeah. When they were playing against Brighton, when they lost.
Yes.
So
you see how you see Ajax now?
I mean, these games. I mean, they are competitive, but of course, you always want to go. You should always try to do a little bit better. We know also if you haven't been competing regularly in the group stages, it takes time to adapt and also for more games. Like now, the team is playing in the normal competition. You have the cup, you have the preliminary rounds, and then you have the group stage. So it's a lot of games that the team needs to play. So sometimes during the European competition, you drop some points, and then you have to win it up when you are maybe out of Europe. But then, of course, the aim for Ajax should be that you are still playing Europe after the New Year. That should at least be the aim with Ajax. If you are playing, you say that if you are in the Champions League group stage, that you reach at least the third position, that you can go to the Europa group, to the Europe to continue. But the team, I think it's comparative, and if now is it the second? It's the second year with Almeida as the coach, or is it the third year?
Second.
Second year, yeah. Because for me, if you can have, when you have a good coach and he can manage and you don't have too much changes in the roster, but you need to have some changes, then you can build on it, and hopefully, because maybe after some time he want to, if he does really well, there's even a bigger team that he wants to go to, and then Ike needs to have someone to replace him. But it's constantly. You always want to do better. You should always aim a little bit higher. When you win the league, then you should, okay, we have to do it again, and then we want to do it a little bit better in Europe, and that should always be the goal. Don't be, complacent and happy where you are. Always try to put it a little bit higher. Then you're gonna, then you move small steps forward, I think, and that should always be the aim of AEK, my opinion.
Thank you again, and I want to thank you very much about this.
It was my pleasure, really.
We wish you a happy new year. We wish you the best with your in your.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arnar.
Yeah, likewise, I wish all the best for our club. Hopefully, they continue and win the league again.
The double. We want the double. AEK fans want everything. The double.
That's even better.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Λοιπόν, αυτός ήταν ο Άρναρ Γκρέταρσον. Να κάνουμε έτσι και μία απομαγνητοφώνηση των όσων είπε στο τέλος ο κύριος Γκρέταρσον, για να κλείσουμε και εμείς σιγά σιγά την εκπομπή μας. Τελειώσαμε με το γήπεδο της ΑΕΚ. Ο κύριος Γκρέταρσον είπε ότι του αρέσει πάρα πολύ, δεν έχει έρθει να το δει, έχει χρόνια να έρθει στην Ελλάδα, αλλά του αρέσει πάρα πολύ με όπως το έχει δει, και ξέφρασε την επιθυμία του να έρθει, αλλά είναι λίγο δύσκολα τα πράγματα με βάση το πρόγραμμά του. Από εκεί και πέρα να ξεκινήσουμε με τα τελευταία, με τα πρώτα μάλλον που είπε προηγουμένως. Το κομμάτι του Ντούσαν Μπάγεβιτς ήταν κάτι που τον ενόχλησε για κάποια δημοσιεύματα που θέλαν του Ντούσαν Μπάγεβιτς να υπάρχει τριγμή στη σχέση του με τον Ντούσαν Μπάγεβιτς και τον Σταύρο ΑΔΑΜΙΔΗ. Δεν ισχύει όλα αυτά. Είπε ότι υπήρξαν κάποια περιστατικά που σίγουρα ήταν μέσα στα πλαίσια της συνεργασίας. Για το κομμάτι πώς βλέπει την ΑΕΚ, είπε ότι την είδε στο τελευταίο παιχνίδι με τον Άγιαξ και έχει παρακολουθήσει κάποια μάτς, του αρέσουν πάρα πολύ η ΑΕΚ. Εντάξει, ωραία συζήτησούλα ήτανε. Δεν ξέρω, Αντριάννα, εσένα πώς φάνηκε ο κύριος Γκρέταρσον.
Πολύ, πολύ ενδιαφέρουσα συζήτηση.
Μας είπε ωραία πράγματα και για την περίοδο που ήταν ως ποδοσφαιριστής. Δεν ξεχάσει ποτέ τον ερχομό του στην ΑΕΚ και ως τεχνικός διευθυντής που ήταν μια ευκαιρία για να κάνει κάτι πέρα από το κομμάτι το ποδοσφαιρικό. Να κλείσουμε λοιπόν και εμείς σιγά σιγά. Να σας ευχαριστήσουμε για όλα. Να σας ευχαριστήσουμε όσοι ήσασταν μαζί μας.
Ευχαριστούμε.
Καλό βράδυ, καλή χρονιά σε όλους. Με το καλό να μπει ο νέος χρόνος. Ακολουθούν και άλλες συνεντεύξεις. Εδώ είμαστε στα στούντιο του Philadelphia Radio. Ήμουνα ο Λάμπρος Λέτσιος.
Ανδριάννα.
Η Αντριάννα δίπλα μου δεν θέλει να λέει το επίθετο. Προσπαθεί να κάνει καριέρα
Φωτεινάκι.
με το μικρό. Προσπαθεί να κάνει
πρόβλημα.
καριέρα με το μικρό. Έχουμε πήξει τις καριέρες με τα μικρά ονόματα.
κάνουμε το επώνυμο.
Έτσι. Καλό βράδυ, καλή χρονιά σε όλους. Θα τα πούμε με τη νέα χρονιά, με νέες συνεντεύξεις, νέα δρόμενα. Σε λίγο θα ανέβει και η συνέντευξη του κύριου Γκρέταρσον, να την δείτε και από μαγνητοφωνημένη από όσα είπε. Καλό βράδυ, καλή χρονιά σε όλους.
Γεια σας, καλή χρονιά.